You spend hours trying to hold the perfect feeling of wealth, but the exact millisecond you face the physical world, you have tiny, invisible thoughts that completely ruin your God state. I am going to tell you a brutal truth today. The exact reason why your physical bank account is currently empty is not because your nightly manifestation technique is broken. It is because of 20 specific micro-thoughts that are mathematically proven to cancel your money. Today we are going to use the uncompromising teachings of Neville Goddard to perform a massive psychological autopsy on your daily mental diet. I'm going to expose 20 silent, highly toxic sentences that you secretly say to yourself every single day. These are 2-second thoughts that violently drag you out of your God state and permanently block your financial empire. If you want to permanently stop sabotaging your own reality, take a brief moment to subscribe to this channel right now. Your strict, uncompromising mental diet begins in this exact microsecond. We must immediately perform a massive psychological autopsy on the concept that Neville Goddard called inner talking. The modern spiritual community has completely brainwashed you to believe that manifestation is an activity you do once a day. They treat manifestation like going to the gym. They think you can visualize wealth for a few minutes, check it off your list, and then go back to thinking like a terrified, broke human being for the rest of the afternoon. This is a catastrophic misunderstanding of quantum physics. The infinite universe is a completely blind, flawless, and mechanical mirror. The mirror does not reflect what you want. The mirror does not reflect your vision board. The mirror only reflects your dominant inner conversation. Your inner conversation is the constant, never-ending stream of silent words that flow through your mind from the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep. Every single thought is a direct, undeniable command given to the quantum field. If you plant a beautiful seed of wealth in the soil at night, but you constantly dig it up and pour toxic poison on it all day long with your micro-thoughts of panic, the seed will absolutely never grow. You must develop the cold, psychopathic discipline to monitor your inner talking. You must become the absolute dictator of your own mind. To help you achieve this terrifying level of mental authority, we are going to expose the 20 micro-thoughts that are proven to cancel your money. We will begin with the first 7 toxic sentences that silently ruin your God state before noon. Micro-thought number 1 is the phrase, "Let me just check my bank account to make sure." This silent thought usually happens right after you buy something or right after you wake up in the morning. You pull out your phone, open your banking application, and stare at the numbers. You tell yourself that you are just being responsible, but I am going to tell you the brutal truth. Checking your bank account to see if the manifestation worked is the ultimate, unforgivable sin of doubt. When you hold the phone in your hand and nervously refresh the page, you are loudly declaring to the universe that you do not trust the unseen reality. You are demanding that the physical mirror give you a sign before you believe in your own power. I want you to deeply analyze the behavior of a true physical multi-billionaire. Does a billionaire sweat with anxiety and check their balance 6 times a day to make sure they can afford a cup of coffee? Absolutely not. The billionaire possesses heavy, boring certainty. When you assume the state of wealth, you must completely stop checking the physical shadow for proof. Every time you check, you reset the clock and cancel the delivery. Micro-thought number 2 is the toxic phrase, "I really hope the money arrives today." This thought sounds completely innocent, and the fake spiritual gurus actually encourage you to think this way. They tell you to keep your hopes up. But hope is the absolute ultimate behavior of the terrified loser. Hope is the exact psychological state of a person who has completely surrendered their power to the chaotic forces of the outside world. When you silently tell yourself that you hope the money comes, you are mathematically confirming to your subconscious mind that the money is not currently here. You are actively maintaining a massive frequency of separation. The Supreme Creator does not hope for anything. You do not hope that you have hands. You simply know that you have hands. You must replace the pathetic micro-thought of hope with the cold, psychopathic memory of your future. You do not hope the money arrives because in your sovereign universe, the money is already secure in your possession. Micro-thought number 3 is the classic, devastating phrase that is way too expensive for me right now. You walk into a store, you see a beautiful piece of clothing or a luxury item, you look at the price tag, and your primitive brain immediately whispers that sentence. When you agree with that thought, you are performing a violent act of self-sabotage. You are taking a dead physical object made of fabric or metal, and you are placing it on a pedestal high above your own supreme, infinite power. You are looking at a piece of the physical matrix and allowing it to dictate your worth. Neville Goddard taught that you must never accept limitation from the outside world. When you see a massive price tag, the observer does not panic, and the observer does not claim poverty. The observer simply looks at the item and silently declares, "I could buy the entire store if I wanted to, but I choose to leave it here for now." You must reframe the narrative. You do not lack the money, you simply exercise your godlike right to not purchase it in this exact physical moment. You keep your authority completely intact. Micro-thought number 4 is the exhausting question, how am I going to pay this massive bill? The mail arrives, you open an envelope, you see an unexpected debt, and your logical brain immediately goes into a state of terrifying overdrive. You start calculating, you start sweating, and you ask yourself how you are going to physically solve the problem. This micro-thought violently drags you out of the comfortable theater seat of the observer state and throws you right back onto the terrifying stage as the panicked actor. You are trying to do the heavy lifting that you are absolutely not qualified to do. You are trying to mess with the bridge of incidents. The how is absolutely none of your business. The how is the exclusive territory of the infinite universe. When you ask how you will pay the bill, you are insulting your infinite employee. The correct micro-thought of the master manifester is simply, I have absolutely no idea how this bill is getting paid, but I know with complete psychopathic certainty that the universe is already handling it for me. You delegate the dirty work, and you return to your Sabbath. Micro-thought number 5 is the quiet, dangerous phrase, I need to save this spare change just in case of an emergency. This is the ultimate manifestation of the hoarding mentality. It is the deep, biological fear of the vacuum. When you desperately hold on to tiny amounts of money, refusing to let energy flow because you are terrified of running out, you are loudly declaring to the quantum field that your supply is incredibly limited and unstable. You are living in the absolute frequency of scarcity. The universe is an infinite ocean of abundance. A billionaire does not panic over a dropped coin, because the billionaire knows the source of the wealth is infinite and internal. When you save money out of fear, you manifest the exact terrifying emergency that you are trying to protect yourself from. You must absolutely save and invest your money, but you must do it from a state of massive, arrogant overflow, not from a state of terrified survival. Micro-thought number 6 is the bitter, toxic question, why did they get rich and I did not? You open social media. You see a friend or a stranger living the exact life you want, and your ego instantly floods your brain with jealousy and comparison. This micro-thought is incredibly destructive because it completely validates the illusion of separation. It makes you believe that the universe has a limited amount of success and that someone else took your portion. In the true teachings of the law of assumption, everyone in your three-dimensional reality is simply you pushed out. There is no competition. There is no one outside of you. When you see someone else experiencing massive wealth, the universe is not mocking you. The universe is actually bringing the physical representation of wealth right into your direct line of sight to prove to you that it is mathematically possible. The master manifester looks at the rich stranger and says, "Thank you for showing me the exact reflection of my own impending empire." You bless the wealth of others, because blessing their wealth is the exact mechanism that commands the mirror to bring the wealth directly to you. Micro-thought number 7 is the exhausting morning declaration. Today is going to be a really difficult day. You wake up tired, the weather is bad, you have a meeting you hate, and before you even step out of bed, you quietly curse your own future. This is what Neville Goddard called pre-paving your reality with friction. You are writing a terrifying script and handing it directly to the actors of your three-dimensional reality. The universe flawlessly takes your micro-thought and completely reorganizes the physical atoms of your day to ensure that your car breaks down. Your boss yells at you and you lose money. You have actively commanded the chaos to exist. The psychopathic creator completely refuses to accept a bad day. Before your foot touches the floor in the morning, you must assume the heavy, arrogant posture of the emperor. You look at the day ahead and you completely rewrite the script. You silently command, "Today is going to be incredibly easy, highly profitable, and the universe is going to effortlessly bend to my will." You remove the friction before it even has the chance to materialize. We must now aggressively navigate into the middle of your physical day, where the three-dimensional reality is violently testing your mental diet. Micro-thought number 8 is the exhausting, deeply ingrained phrase, "I need to work much harder to get this money." This silent sentence is the ultimate curse of the middle class. Society has completely brainwashed you to believe that physical sweat and massive physical exhaustion are the only acceptable currencies you can trade for financial wealth. When you look at your goals and silently tell yourself that you must grind, hustle, and destroy your physical health to become a multi-millionaire, you are aggressively rejecting the law of assumption. You are literally telling the infinite universe that you do not trust its power, and that you prefer to build your empire with your own fragile human hands. Neville Goddard taught that trying to force the three-dimensional world to change through massive physical effort is like trying to change your reflection in the mirror by violently scrubbing the glass. It is completely useless and incredibly exhausting. The true master does not work harder. The true master assumes harder. When you fully occupy the state of the wealthy creator, your physical actions become entirely effortless. You are pushed into compelled action by the universe. The billionaire does not dig the hole with a shovel. The billionaire simply assumes the building is finished, and the universe magically provides the machinery and the people to do the heavy lifting for them. Micro-thought number 9 is the terrifying, scarcity-driven phrase, "If I buy this right now, I will not have enough money left over for later." This thought happens every single time you open your wallet to pay for something you actually want, and your stomach immediately drops. This micro-thought is the absolute poison of the financial vacuum. Money is not a solid, stagnant object that you must carefully hoard in a dark cave. Money is a liquid, flowing current of physical energy. It operates exactly like the water in a massive river. When you hold on to your money in a state of absolute terror, refusing to let it flow because you think the supply is limited, you are building a massive, energetic dam. You turn the beautiful, flowing river of wealth into a disgusting, stagnant, dying pond. When you silently declare that buying a coffee or a nice shirt will ruin your financial future, the universe flawlessly reflects your terrifying assumption of lack. You are programming the quantum field to ensure that you always have exactly the bare minimum required to survive. The Supreme Creator understands that the supply is completely infinite. When the wealthy master spends money, they do not feel fear. They feel a heavy, arrogant excitement because they absolutely know that every single dollar that leaves their hand creates a massive vacuum that the universe is mathematically forced to fill with 10 more dollars. You must spend your money with the confident apathy of a god who owns the entire bank. Micro-thought number 10 is the toxic, spiritually destructive phrase, "I do not deserve to spend this money on myself." This is the massive illusion of false humility that the fake spiritual gurus love to teach you. They tell you that you must be modest, that wanting luxury is greedy, and that you must constantly sacrifice your own happiness to be a good person. This micro-thought completely severs your connection to the God state. When you tell yourself that you do not deserve beautiful things, you are literally insulting the infinite creator that resides entirely within your own imagination. You are the operant power of the universe experiencing physical life through a temporary human costume. Why would the supreme creator of the cosmos not deserve the absolute best experiences that the physical matrix has to offer? Neville Goddard was deeply opposed to this pathetic mentality of unworthiness. You do not need to earn your right to experience massive wealth through good behavior or suffering. Your worthiness is absolute, unconditional, and completely non-negotiable simply because you exist. The exact microsecond you drop the disgusting illusion of false humility and boldly declare that you deserve every single luxury the world possesses, the mirror of reality will instantly begin delivering those luxuries directly to your front door. Micro-thought number 11 is the silent, catastrophic question, what if my manifestation actually does not work? This tiny 2-second thought usually creeps into your mind when you are feeling tired or overwhelmed by the three-dimensional reality. You start making a backup plan. You start calculating how you will survive if the millions of dollars do not arrive. This is what the ancient texts call being double-minded, and it is the absolute death of your manifestation. When you create a plan B in your mind, you are actively withdrawing your divine, life-giving attention from plan A. You are essentially telling your subconscious mind that the assumption of wealth is just a silly game you are playing, but the actual serious truth is your poverty. The infinite universe cannot build a bridge of incidents on a foundation of doubt. If you build a safety net to catch you when you fall into poverty, the universe will ensure that you fall directly into it. The true psychopathic observer absolutely refuses to entertain a backup plan. You must burn all the boats. You must look at your massive financial empire and silently declare that failure is mathematically impossible in your sovereign universe. The certainty must be so heavy and so cold that the thought of failing feels completely absurd to your logical brain. Micro-thought number 12 is the deeply uncomfortable confession, I feel like I am just pretending to be rich. You walk down the street trying to feel the state of the wish fulfilled, but suddenly you feel like a massive fraud. You feel silly, childish, and deeply disconnected from the reality you are trying to assume. Your logical brain looks at your empty pockets and laughs at you, calling you a delusional liar. This micro-thought completely destroys the foundation of Neville Goddard's teaching, because there is a massive difference between acting like you are rich and actually assuming you are rich. Acting implies that you are on a stage performing for an audience, constantly aware that you are wearing a fake mask. Assuming implies that the new identity is an undeniable, boring, and permanent fact of your existence. But the reason you feel like an imposter is not a spiritual failure. The reason you feel like a fraud is entirely biological. This brings us to the most vital, life-altering intervention of this entire masterclass. The exact reason why micro-thought number 12 creates a sickening feeling of panic in your stomach is because your physical nervous system is actively rejecting your new identity. Your primitive animal brain is completely addicted to the familiar chemistry of your past poverty. When you boldly attempt to assume the terrifying, expansive identity of a multimillionaire, your physical body perceives this massive change as a literal threat to your survival. Your brain floods your bloodstream with toxic amounts of cortisol, creating the physical sensation of imposter syndrome. You cannot maintain a flawless mental diet if your physical body is constantly screaming in absolute terror. You cannot simply think your way out of a massive biological hemorrhage. If you want to permanently stop feeling like a fake, and if you want to silence the terrifying imposter syndrome so you can effortlessly maintain your God state all day long, you must forcefully turn off your biological alarm system. Because this physical trap is the exact reason why thousands of people fail at the law of assumption, I have provided the ultimate, uncompromising biological solution for you. I want you to pause this audio right now and look directly below this video in the pinned comment section. I have left a highly specific and incredibly powerful physical protocol there for you. This is a pure mechanical override code designed to instantly bypass your panicked logical mind, completely regulate your dysregulated nervous system, and aggressively flush the imposter syndrome entirely out of your physical cells. It forces your primitive biology to drop the fear of the unknown and enter a state of deep, undeniable safety. Go to the pinned comment right now. Use this protocol to manually hack your nervous system, and then come right back here to discover the final thoughts that are quietly destroying your future. Now that your physical vessel is calm and completely prepared to accept the truth, we must destroy micro-thought number 13. This is the highly contagious toxic phrase, "The economy is terrible right now, so I need to be extremely careful." You turn on the television, you listen to your co-workers complaining, and you absorb the collective panic of the masses. You hear about inflation, market crashes, and job losses, and you silently agree with them. The exact microsecond you agree with the news, you have completely surrendered your crown. You have abandoned your isolated sovereign universe, and you have stepped directly into the collective nightmare of the three-dimensional matrix. You must understand that the global economy has absolutely zero power over your personal bank account unless you explicitly give it permission. The Master Manifestor operates in a completely isolated, independent financial reality. The observer looks at the crashing economy and feels a heavy sense of psychopathic boredom. The observer knows that historical, generational fortunes are mathematically created during periods of massive global chaos. When the terrified actors on the stage are losing their minds and selling their assets in a panic, the universe is simply reorganizing the flow of money to deliver it directly into the hands of the people who maintained their assumption. You must become completely deaf to the complaints of society. You do not share an economy with the masses. You dictate your own economy through your dominant inner talking. Micro-thought number 14 is the weak, pathetic, and deeply insidious phrase, I'm going to try to attract this money. The fake spiritual industry has completely ruined your vocabulary. They have taught you to use words like try, attract, and manifest as if they are magical spells. I want you to completely eliminate the word try from your inner talking forever. The word try is the absolute confession of failure. It implies massive effort, struggle, and the terrifying possibility that you might not succeed. The Supreme Creator does not try to exist. God does not try to be God. The universe does not try to spin the planets. These things simply are. The law of attraction teaches you to try to be a magnet, which keeps you in a permanent state of chasing the wealth. Neville Goddard's law of assumption completely destroys the concept of trying. You do not try to be wealthy. You simply assume the state of wealth. You boldly declare that the money is already yours, and you walk forward with the cold, arrogant certainty that the physical world must seamlessly rearrange its atoms to match your declaration. You are either the person who has the millions of dollars, or you are the person who does not. There is absolutely no middle ground, and there is absolutely no trying allowed in the kingdom of the observer. As the physical sun finally goes down, and you prepare to enter the state akin to sleep, your mental diet faces its absolute ultimate test. The distractions of the physical day have completely faded away, and you are left entirely alone in the dark with your own consciousness. This is the exact moment when micro-thought number 15 violently attacks your mind. You look up at the ceiling and silently ask, "Where is my sign from the universe?" You have spent the entire day trying to hold the state of the wish fulfilled, but because your physical reality has not instantly changed, your ego throws a massive tantrum. You start begging the empty room for a small breadcrumb of validation. You want the universe to show you a feather, a sequence of numbers, or a random text message to prove that your effort was not wasted. This micro-thought is the absolute ultimate behavior of the desperate beggar. Neville Goddard was entirely uncompromising regarding this pathetic habit. He clearly stated that signs follow. They absolutely never precede. When you ask the universe for a sign, you are loudly declaring that you are currently poor and that you desperately need outside permission to feel wealthy. The Supreme Creator never asks for a sign because the Creator already possesses the heavy, undeniable certainty of the massive financial empire. You must completely stop looking for the shadow of the object, and you must forcefully become the undeniable physical object that casts the shadow in the first place. Micro-thought number 16 is the deeply anxious phrase, "I must be doing the manifestation technique wrong." You close your eyes to visualize your wealth, but your mind is chaotic. You cannot see the images clearly, you cannot force the emotion, and you immediately tell yourself that you are broken. You think that because your visualization was not perfectly clear, the universe is going to cancel your millions of dollars. The modern spiritual industry has completely brainwashed you to worship the technique instead of worshiping your own imagination. The manifestation technique is absolutely nothing more than a temporary training wheel designed to help you capture the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The technique itself has absolutely zero power. The universe does not care if your visualization is blurry. The universe does not care if you use the water cup method, the scripting method, or the whispering method. The quantum mirror only responds to your dominant state of assumption. When you silently tell yourself that you are failing at the technique, you are perfectly assuming the identity of a failure, and the universe flawlessly reflects that exact failure back into your physical reality. You must drop the desperate obsession with doing things perfectly, and you must simply rest in the boring psychopathic knowledge that the wealth is already yours, regardless of how messy your human mind feels. Micro-thought number 17 is the ultimate surrender of your divine power. It is the highly toxic, deeply religious phrase, maybe becoming a millionaire is just not meant to be, or maybe it is not the will of the universe. This silent thought is a massive psychological defense mechanism created by your terrified ego to protect you from the pain of taking absolute responsibility for your own life. When the three-dimensional reality gets difficult, it feels incredibly comforting to blame a higher power. It feels easy to say that the universe has a different, mysterious plan for you, but Neville Goddard completely destroyed this pathetic illusion. There is absolutely no entity outside of your own beautiful imagination that is judging you, testing you, or deciding what you deserve. You are the sole operant power of the entire cosmos experiencing physical life through your current human costume. The will of God is absolutely nothing more than your own dominant assumption. If you assume you are destined to be completely broke, the universe will flawlessly execute that destiny. If you assume you are mathematically guaranteed to become a multimillionaire, the universe will violently rearrange its atoms to serve you that exact reality. You must completely stop waiting for a mythical permission slip from the sky, and you must arrogantly write your own destiny right now. Micro-thought number 18 is the massive trap of spiritual procrastination. You lie in bed, completely exhausted from fighting your own negative thoughts all day, and you silently declare, "My mental diet was terrible today, but tomorrow I will start thinking positive again." This thought sounds completely harmless, but it contains a highly destructive quantum poison. It relies entirely on the massive illusion of time. The infinite universe does not understand the concept of tomorrow. Tomorrow absolutely never exists in the physical dimension. There is only the eternal, infinite, and incredibly powerful present moment. When you tell your subconscious mind that you will be wealthy tomorrow, you are aggressively commanding the mirror of reality to keep your wealth permanently locked in the future. You are actively declaring that right now, in this exact millisecond, you are completely broke and unworthy. The master manifester never delays the assumption. The exact microsecond you realize your mental diet has failed, you do not wait for the next morning to fix it. You violently interrupt the pattern right then and there. You boldly claim the state of the wealthy creator in the absolute present moment, completely ignoring the massive failures of your past. Micro-thought number 19 is the heavy, depressing phrase, "I am just too tired to force myself to feel rich tonight." You have been told by the fake spiritual gurus that you must constantly vibrate at a massively high frequency. They tell you that you must feel intense joy, extreme excitement, and massive gratitude 24 hours a day to attract money. This is a complete and absolute lie that is violently burning out your nervous system. Manifesting millions of dollars is not an exhausting emotional marathon. The true feeling of the wish fulfilled is not excitement. It is absolute psychopathic boredom. Look at a physical billionaire. They are not jumping up and down on their bed screaming with joy because they have money in the bank. They are completely used to it. The wealth is entirely normal, heavy, and extremely boring to them. When you feel too tired to force a high vibration, you must realize that you do not need to force anything at all. You simply need to surrender to the cold, undeniable fact that the money is already yours. Apathy and boredom are the ultimate indicators that the assumption has hardened into physical fact. You can be completely exhausted, absolutely miserable, and highly annoyed, and you will still mathematically manifest millions of dollars if your baseline assumption is that you are rich. We have finally arrived at micro-thought number 20. This is the absolute most dangerous, deeply hidden, and highly toxic poison in the entire manifestation community. It is the silent, hopeful phrase, "I am not a multi-millionaire yet, but I know I will be soon." This thought completely destroys 99% of all students who study the law of assumption. When you use the future tense, you are actively driving a massive knife directly into the heart of your manifestation. To say "I will be rich" is the absolute, undeniable confession that I am not rich right now. Neville Goddard warned us that the name of the Supreme Creator is "I am," not "I will be." The quantum mirror is completely blind, and it only possesses the ability to reflect the present tense. If you constantly broadcast the frequency of becoming wealthy, the universe will flawlessly keep you in the perpetual, exhausting state of becoming, but you will never actually arrive at the destination. You must violently eradicate the future tense from your entire psychological vocabulary. You must never again say that the money is coming. You must look at the empty physical bank account and silently, arrogantly declare, "I am the massive wealth right now." Now that we have successfully completely autopsied and destroyed all 20 toxic micro-thoughts, you must install the absolute ultimate cure. You cannot simply fight these thoughts one by one, because fighting them gives them massive, life-giving attention. To maintain a flawless mental diet, you must develop a highly advanced psychological weapon that I call psychopathic silence. When an old, toxic micro-thought pops into your mind and tells you that you are poor, you do not argue with it. You do not panic. You treat that thought exactly like a crazy person screaming at you on the street. You do not stop to negotiate with the crazy person. You simply look straight ahead, maintain your heavy, arrogant posture, and walk right past them in complete silence. You withdraw your divine attention from the fear, and you completely starve the negative thought of its life force. You become the silent, untouchable chief executive officer of your own mind. You sit on the throne of your massive imagination, completely unbothered by the temporary noise of your old identity. If you have entirely absorbed the uncompromising frequency of this massive $5,000 transmission, your psychological architecture has been permanently and violently rewritten. You can never go back to the exhausting, pathetic treadmill of the broken mental diet. You can never again allow a tiny 2-second thought to cancel your millions of dollars. You have successfully bypassed the terrifying trap of your own inner talking, and you have forcefully adopted the psychopathic silence of the Supreme Creator. You finally understand that the infinite universe is absolutely not testing you. The universe is simply waiting for you to stop whispering poverty into the quantum mirror. But to permanently lock this terrifying, untouchable mental discipline into the physical matrix of your reality, and to mathematically prove to your own nervous system that you have completely taken control of the steering wheel, you must take one final, irreversible action. You must issue a physical command that permanently seals the doors of your subconscious mind. I want you to step fully into the quiet, motionless, crushing power of the final authority. I want you to scroll down to the comments section directly below this video. I want you to type these exact words with the absolute, terrifying certainty of a billionaire who has flawlessly mastered their own mind. Type, I maintain my God state. My money is completely secure. Let the physical movement of your fingers typing those words be the absolute last moment you ever allow a micro-thought to cancel your reality. Make the ultimate declaration right now. I maintain my God state. My money is completely secure. The massive illusion of the negative mind is completely destroyed. The biological panic is permanently turned off, and your spectacular financial empire is mathematically guaranteed. Go sit in the pristine darkness of your flawless mental diet. Cross your arms and enjoy the massive wealth that your beautiful assumption has already forced into physical existence.